Live from the heart of Baylor Bear Country, the most comprehensive pregame coverage. This is Game Day Live, powered by Sikkim 365 and KWTX News 10.
And good morning. We're in our studios a little bit on the west side of I-35 in Waco. McLean Stadium is maybe a driver, 3-wood, and maybe another 3-wood away. And they're not there today. Baylor today is in Morgantown, a place that's kind of been their boogeyman against West Virginia, who made a decision. Garrett Green, the physical, pretty good thrower, but a really tough runner, gritty guy, will start at quarterback for West Virginia today against Baylor this afternoon. Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. This is 365 Sports and also KWTX. Garrett Ross is running our show today. All right, so West Virginia, the boogeyman for Baylor for the longest time was Stillwater. Remember Bryce Petty tripping up inside the 10 to walk in for a touchdown? Baylor stopped at the 1, and then Oklahoma State. That was a really good Baylor team. Now Morgantown is the boogeyman. From 70 to 63 to Blake Shapen. Was it Charlie Brewer or Blake Shapen scrambling away? It was Shapen a couple of years ago and just lost the ball. Just the ball comes out, West Virginia scoop and score. Baylor had control of that game. West Virginia won. Let's discuss this. They've never won there. That means eventually you have to win there sometime, or maybe not.
Yeah, look, they've been good the last month about doing things that they weren't good at before, running the ball, beating TCU. So maybe going to Morgantown will be different this time. I guess we'll see this afternoon at 3 o'clock, but I think this team is playing with a confidence that we haven't seen in 2 full seasons. And now that they believe in themselves, they've got a leader at quarterback that they like. The offensive line, while, obviously not the 92 Cowboys, still playing, especially night and day to what they were. The defense, not the doomsday defense, but they get key stops. They've got players like Matt Jones and Steve Linton who make plays when they need to. And those have been the steps forward they've made. And this is 2 5-4 teams. Let's not pretend like this is Oregon and Ohio State, but these are 2 teams in spots where they really need to get a win today.
Yeah, Morgantown's been a house of horrors, as you mentioned, but I don't think that's really anything you're all worried about rolling into today. I know it's been a topic of interest or a topic of discussion, but there's nothing about this West Virginia team that you're just daunted by having to roll into their backyard and take them on. It's not some fearsome West Virginia team that, oh my gosh, and they've got home field advantage. I don't think this is a team that you feel like is in any way unbeatable. I don't think this is a venue where in any way you feel like it's unbeatable. I think this is a game that's there for the taking. If you go out and play the way that you played over the last month, they'll be geared up. They won a couple in a row. They've got their quarterback back, and I'm sure there will probably be a pretty good crowd in attendance, but this isn't like rolling into West Virginia and, like I said, all daunting like it has been in years past. This is a game that you can absolutely go and win based on what we've seen from both teams.
They met for the first time in 2012. That was that crazy 70 to 63 game. And West Virginia at one point won 3 straight, 16, 17, and 18. That was during the Jim Grobe and then the first 2 years of Matt Rule. Last couple of years, West Virginia won in Morgantown 43-40 in the game that I alluded to when Shapen just lost the ball, getting out of the pocket. And then last year, 34-31 to end the year in what was one of Baylor's best performances, had the lead late, and they couldn't close the deal. West Virginia leads the series 8-4 and again 6-0 in Morgantown. We're now joined by Royden Ogletree of KWTX. He made the nice flight into lovely West Virginia. I talked to Ashley Hod yesterday. He was driving around that area. His mom lives in Maryland, so he was close by. Royden, this has not been a place where Baylor, they've played well a few times, but they've never been able to win there.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Smokey, it is. I was at that 2022 game where Blake Shapen lost the ball and then unfortunately got his head taken off, and they had to go to Kyron Drones maybe before they wanted to, and they kind of let that game get away. And that was unfortunately Blake Shapen's best game of his career. He was close to, I believe, like 400 yards passing through about 3 quarters of that game, and then they still found a way to lose. They cannot win up here, and even when I mentioned it in my piece last night, going back to 2014 after they were rolling and riding high after that 2014 game against TCU, 61-58. They come in here and have the biggest letdown I think that they've ever had in program history when they fall to an okay West Virginia team at the time. Granted, they had Kevin White, who seemed like the best receiver in the country at that time, and they just couldn't get it done. And something about this place up here, maybe it's the fans, maybe it's the weather, maybe it's John Denver, who knows? But they cannot get over the hump when it comes to playing in Morgantown.
Royden, what do you think is potentially different about this team this time?
I think their ability to run the football now, under Aranda, they have been able to run the football really well at times. But I think the way that the offensive line is playing, how they're rolling under Sawyer Robertson and his leadership, and just the way the emergence of Bryson Washington and their ability to have a tough physical downhill running game, I think is probably going to prove well up here. It is cold and wet and windy up here. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get that moving forward. And I also think that the emergence of, big tight end, Michael Trigg, I was thinking that big pass that they made to him over the middle to kind of seal that game and get into field goal position. I think he's going to play a big role as a safety blanket for Sawyer Robinson going forward. And look, the defense is playing up to the Dave Aranda standard, like we saw maybe in 2021 when they actually won that game outright at home against West Virginia. But it has mostly been one-score games against West Virginia throughout Aranda's tenure, except for that one. So we'll see how it goes here tonight. I don't expect anything less than a tight matchup regardless.
Royden, you mentioned the weather there, so it's cold and windy. I mean, we can kind of tell that, and I guess what's kind of the forecast here for around mid-afternoon when they're going to kick this ball off?
I think it's only going to warm up to about 50 degrees. If you can tell by my hair, it is windy. I'm up here on top of the hill at a law school. This was the last place I could get. They won't let you down into any parking lots because they're already tailgating. So it is wet and windy. I don't think it'll be raining around game time, but yeah, overcast and much, much different than what it is had this game been played in Waco. So they will have home field advantage if they're used to playing up here, that is. But, I don't feel too bad. I think a lot of West Virginia fans are bundled up and have on warm hats and jackets. So I don't feel too bad as a native Texan coming up here having to wear several layers of clothes.
By the way, the reason your hair looks disheveled is because you have a big, thick head of hair, so there's nothing wrong with that. You're fine. So Sawyer Robertson has given this team confidence. I had somebody earlier this week say you can tell that Spavital has a lot of confidence in him and that Sawyer has confidence in Jake Spavital. That's simple, but it's not always the case.
No, you're right. And there was a lot of consternation about, how this offense had been playing early on, and were they able to adjust from the wide zone system that they were running previously into this full spread offense. And I think the transition, to Sawyer Robertson, who had been playing that his entire life and, was in the Mike Leach spread them out offense, I think bode well for this team. And I think it gave Robertson the confidence to sling the ball around. And look, they're taking deep shots on like 3rd and short. They have all the confidence in the world in that quarterback. And I think they're starting to really see the benefits of what Spavital can bring to this program. And look, over the past, 3 or 4 games, this winning streak that Baylor has been on, they're averaging 45 points a game and 445 yards a game. I think they're really rolling. And I think that give and take from both the quarterback and the offensive coordinator has gone really well. So we'll see if that continues today.
Royden Ogletree is in Morgantown. You can see the stadium where Baylor will play the Mountaineers a little bit later on this afternoon. The defense, I hear that they're playing better, but they're still very vulnerable against the pass. Garrett Green's going to start tonight or this afternoon at quarterback. He can throw it. I think he's a lefty, and he's also very physical. And one thing when I heard that this morning was he seems to have the mentality of that fan base, that his personality fits them. Now, they have quarterbacks, of course, that when he's been out, but do you remember and kind of know what kind of lift he can give them if, in fact, he gets that thing going?
Yeah, I mean, if you get him out on the edge, he's also he's just going to run over people too. He's not really afraid of contact, and that may have led to a little bit of injury on his part throughout his career. But yeah, they love him up here. He matches their personality, just up here in the Mountain State, and they're tough and physical, and that's really different from what we've seen or known from West Virginia over the years. Sort of that spread them out offense, the days of Pat White, Steve Slayton, Geno Smith, all those guys where they were throwing for. You mentioned the 73-67 game, or what was it in 2012, where I don't think they had one stop on defense. I don't think any team had one stop on defense. There may have not been a punt, and so that's the kind of offense that they were used to playing up here. But Garrett Green is a guy that will get the ball in space and run it if he doesn't have anything open. They may or may not do some design runs for him today since he's coming off of that injury. We'll just have to see. But that game up here, or that game, sorry, last year in Waco, Garrett Green threw for like 270 yards against this Baylor defense. So he will toss the ball around. It'll just be interesting to see what Dave Aranda comes up with on defense. And they've been blitzing like crazy this year. We'll see if that affects this mobile quarterback, or if he is as mobile coming off what was called an undisclosed injury. So we'll see how that goes.
Royden, by the way, I like your look. It's very reporter covering a flood kind of a motif that you've got going on there. But also, this is not, I know, your first trip to Morgantown. Do you have some spots, some things, some local flair that you go and enjoy?
Well, the last time that we were here on a Thursday, but the fine folks of West Virginia, my cousin was up here in law school, so they don't go short of a good time even on a Thursday night. So we were up here and they showed us around at some of the bars downtown, and those things were still full, which is not the case what you would say in Waco, Texas. But when I come up here, this sounds like a normie thing, and it is a chain now, but like you have to get from Annie Bros when you come up here. For those of people in Waco that don't know, they put the fries on the sandwich. So that's just an interesting thing that they do up in the Pittsburgh and West Virginia area. So that's a chain, but I'm going to have to go check out a couple of the spots that he texted me. They're in my text messages, and if you don't know, we're doing this on my phone. Otherwise, I would check them and tell you where to go for lunch or breakfast. But no, he gave me some spots, so I'm going to go try and check them out. And they have their own sort of Georges. Every city or college town that you go to has one of those hole-in-the-wall spots.
Thank you, Royden. Stay warm and at least a little bit not too windy. Thanks for your time. Look great. Great backdrop. Perfect backdrop with the stadium in the background. We're Morgantown, West Virginia. That will be the host today, just after 3 o'clock of that game between Baylor and also the Mountaineers. Two coaches that have had to kind of weather the storm. Last year, entering the year, Neil Brown on the hot seat, they won 9 games. This year, both, not Neil Brown, but Dave Aranda, started 2-4. They've won 3 in a row. And not that he's not off the hot seat, but I'm being told that no matter what happens the last 3 weeks of the season, that Dave Aranda is back as the head coach for 2025. That's even if they were to lose the last 3 games. A lot of it might have to do with the fact that they feel still good about where they are, and also the fact that Dave Aranda's contract and the buyout that he has is a very large chunk of money. When we come back, we're not done. We'll hear from players. We'll hear from Dave Aranda. We'll also hear from Tony Caridi, voice of West Virginia. Thanks for your time this morning. Every Saturday when Baylor's playing, in fact, the next 3 weeks at 9 o'clock right here on KWTX. I'm David Smoak with Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina. This is Game Day Live.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford.
You know, ever since we scored that annuity from SPJST, we've never had to worry about retirement.
I've never been worried. I'm worried about our retirement. I think we need to call SPJST and set up that annuity.
I already did.
SPJST Annuities. With guaranteed growth and income to last your entire life. It's easier than hindsight.
Good call, honey.
SPJST. Growing wealth for Texas families since 1897.
Are you ready to shop? Because you know we got the deals during the Black Friday Super Sale at Furniture Row. Right now, the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend and watch the savings stack up. Check out special purchases while they last and save up to 50%. Or make your cash go further with 60 months no interest financing. Shop the largest selection at the lowest prices guaranteed. The Black Friday Super Sale, only at Furniture Row.
Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Bird Colgan Ford. Join us for our Black Friday sale where over $16 million in inventory is on sale right now. This month only, get a 24 F-150 for under $500 a month, or a 24 Bronco, only $470 a month. Selection and save all month long at Bird Colgan Ford during our Black Friday sales event. Visit us anytime at bkford.com or come by and experience better at BK Ford.
KWTX and 365 Sports. We'll hear from Tony Caridi in a moment. He's the voice of West Virginia. We'll also hear, as I mentioned, from Dave Aranda and Ricky Thompson, former Baylor receiver, now part of Baylor Radio and the sideline analyst. But right now, a couple of different players who meet with the media on Tuesdays of game weeks. Offensive lineman Campbell Barrington, also Trevor Mawai. This is a team that feels confident. They cannot take any game for granted. They're not that good. They could win the next three. They could lose the next three. I don't know what they're going to do, but they do feel confident. And it seems like, really, it's not only just Sawyer Robertson, but the fact they have run the ball at people, and that will be tested. Here we'll start with Campbell Barrington.
From those 3 wins have carried through this off week?
I think a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's cool. We're winning games, you know. We're all excited, so that's keeping our energy high. But I mean, we're just trying to stay focused on what's in front of us, you know. Going and getting that win up in West Virginia because we've never won there, so we're all really locked in with that.
Are you all aware? Clearly you are aware that you've never won in Morgantown. Does that resonate with the team? Is that something you want to see?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It fires dudes up. I mean, especially on the offensive line, right? It's something we've been harping on and focusing on, so we got to go get one for the Bears.
I know it's a little unique, but as a player, do you like the double bye weeks, and how did y'all kind of use it to improve and get healthy?
Honestly, I liked it way more than last season. I think it's a great time to get healthy. I mean, I think it just worked out good, you know, and especially the way it played out for us, you know, got 3 games left, do whatever you got to do, maintain your body those last 3 games and see where it goes from there.
Morgantown is what I know you haven't played there, right?
No, I never have.
Have everybody else on the team told you why it's a tough place to play? What are you expecting?
A little bit, right? I mean, it's going to be a great environment, you know. Selling out, you know. I mean, there's going to be people chewing us out, doing whatever, you know. We're excited, you know. We like that type of stuff, so yeah, we're ready.
Does it give you extra confidence that y'all got that road win in Lubbock a couple of weeks ago? And how important will it be to start fast in a hostile environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all adding more confidence for the whole team, you know, and winning these games, but just keeping that mentality that, hey, next game we gotta refocus, relock.
What's been your perspective of the running game and how much that has progressed, and you know, how has it taken this step forward so quickly?
Yeah. After that first bye week, right, we took a lot more time to hone everything in and refocus and reevaluate and, make the right corrections to, just bring us to where we are right now.
Is it nice to have a little cohesion along the offensive line?
Yeah, for sure.
How much does that help?
It helps a lot. Not gonna lie. Yeah, we're all playing together really well right now, so just got to keep doing that.
What have y'all kind of seen from West Virginia's front? Coach Aranda mentioned it was one of the better ones y'all faced.
No, yeah, they're big bodies, tall dudes, thick guys. You know, it's a good front, so we're excited to see what we can do against them.
What are you expecting from West Virginia? You know, what do you it's a tough place to play. You've never won there. What do you expect for that game?
Well, we know it's going to be a four-quarter dogfight. Their O-line's physical and disciplined, so we just got to be on point, and it's going to be an amazing game.
What's the main difference when you all are preparing for 2 different quarterbacks, and how does that impact you throughout the week in practice?
So 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different types of play styles. We know sometimes they're big on Q draw and stuff, so and sometimes they like to air it out. And I was as well run the ball too. They did a good job of that. So it's just being in the right call, the right check.
I believe Baylor's 0-6 in Morgantown. Does that kind of give y'all some extra juice going up there?
Yeah, I think that on top of, nobody wants to miss a bowl game like last year. So it's just added on to it. But it definitely is more motivation.
Coach Aranda mentioned that he kind of simplified the defense in that first bye week. What did y'all work on this past bye week, and how did y'all improve during that?
We worked on tackling. We didn't do a good job of tackling versus TCU. So tackling was a big thing. And then, just trying to get into more calls that when they change, it won't mess us up too much.
Is tackle, what do you work on when you work on tackling? Is that a physical thing? Is it a angles thing? Like what's the focus when you're specifically working on tackling?
If you ask me, I say it's all of that, and the mentality of are you trying to make the other person feel you, and when you roll off of them, take your time rolling off on them, eat the clock up. But it's angles, pad level, feet, it's all of it. Football hasn't changed, I don't think. With whatever the rules are, but it all comes down to making your tackles when you're supposed to.
How much confidence do y'all get now that Baylor's rushing game is so powerful and Bryson Washington's always out there running dudes over?
Yeah, it's electrifying watching the offense, and we're starting to play more complementary football. And our goal for the defense is to, really back them up and get them the ball back more so they can do what they do.
When you're playing in a hostile environment, how big is it to start fast and kind of keep the crowd out of it?
Oh, it's huge, because once you punch them in the mouth and you keep doing it, by halftime, the fans leave, and it's just, I believe in, you got to break their spirit, and that's the biggest thing.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with a Baylor Club membership today.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Make Camp Finfo the destination for your next visit to Waco. Whether you're catching a football game, exploring the silos, or just looking to get away, Camp Finfo Waco is conveniently located 6 miles from downtown and Baylor University. Voted the #1 best vacation rental in Waco for the last 2 years, this camping resort features cabins and RV sites and is brimming with premium amenities like on-site dining, sports courts, a swimming pool, and more. Start making unforgettable memories and book your stay at Camp Finfo Waco.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Chuck Verno, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott will invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
There are 26 36 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Into Game Day Live, I'm Garrett Ross with today's Keys to the Game presented by Richard Carr Motors. Last week, Baylor had their second bye week of the season after defeating TCU in what was really a dramatic game that came down to Isaiah Hankins kicking that 33-yard walk-off field goal. We talked at length about Baylor's struggles with TCU in the past. They were finally able to get that done, and then now you were able to have some more time to rest up. And as you're coming off of this, you're hoping that you can keep generating that same momentum that you were able to use from the first bye week and springboard that into this back half of the season. Now, you're able to go up to Morgantown this weekend and play West Virginia. This is a team who you have never beaten on their home field. And I think Baylor's ready for the task this week. I think if you're going to do that, now is the perfect opportunity to go up to Morgantown and get the dub. You're able to just shake the monkey off your back with TCU. You're showing that you can play good ball consistently. And I think now is the time. Now, West Virginia is also coming off of a 2-game winning streak as they were able to go to Arizona and get the win over the Wildcats. Last week, they were able to go into Cincinnati and get the win there. But Baylor is, I think, further ahead of them right now. But both teams have bowl eligibility on the line. The Mountaineers have struggled in Morgantown this season. So Baylor has a lot of a tall task at hand as they go into this game. But I think Baylor can get the win, but here are 3 keys that they're going to need to do in order to do that. So looking at West Virginia's defense, this is a unit that has struggled mightily this season. They're coming off of where you've already had to make a defensive coordinator change in midseason. That is something that if you have to do that, that tells you how bad things are going. But they rank 13th in defensive efficiency in the Big 12. And in total defense, they rank dead last. So this is one where they're not really doing anything on the back end. And I think Sawyer Robertson, the way he's been playing down the stretch, the way his receivers are going out and finally making plays, contested catches, I think you can exploit this West Virginia secondary. And I think that's the one thing that Baylor can do early and often to set the momentum for how this game is going to go. Now, coming up on the second key, it's going to be get off the field really on late downs, but more so on 4th down. If you look at what West Virginia does, they are very aggressive at 4th down situations. If they have an opportunity to go for it or punt, more than likely they are going to go for it. They are tied 3rd nationally in the Power 4 for 4th down conversions this season with 17. And I really think this is one where you see them be really aggressive in their play calls. I think they try to keep the ball as long as they can to keep Baylor's offense at bay. So if Baylor wants to come up with the win and get the ball in their playmakers' hands and Sawyer Robertson in that offense, you're really going to have to step up and stop West Virginia as they go for it on 4th down, because I think you're going to see that consistently throughout this game. And finally, we've talked about West Virginia's defense and their struggles this season. It's not just on the back end, it is as a whole. They've struggled to do anything. Offenses are having their way with them. And right now, people are rushing for almost 130 yards per game on this team. So my third key is for let Bryson Washington feast. If you look what Bryson Washington has been able to do for Baylor over the past couple of weeks, he's one of the catalysts of why they are having the success they are right now. He's emerged as the best running back in this room. He is versatile. That makes him a threat for any defense to go up against. And he's also coming off of a record-setting performance against TCU, where he rushed for 4 touchdowns, which became the first running back in the Big 12 to do that this season, and also the first Baylor running back to do that since Tarek Scanaway did a few years ago. So I think if you let Bryson Washington get going and feast early, throw in a little Dawson Pendergrass and Richard Reese with that, I think Baylor can open up and make West Virginia close down on it. And then that opens up to our first key, exploiting that secondary as they're trying to come in and stop the run. I think Baylor can win this game. I have them winning 35-24. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but
Baylor should be able to go into Morgantown and finally get their first win and become bowl eligible. That's going to do it for today's Keys to the Game. We'll be back with more Game Day Live right after this.
Black Friday is on now at Du Bois Furniture. Once a year, the deals are steals. Black Friday savings store-wide, plus special purchases up to 70% off, plus 25% off rugs and accessories. Black Friday is on now at Du Bois Furniture.
We relieve dental anxiety with sedation. Sedation dentistry are simply taking a pill or pills to make you relax or help the patient relax.
Dr. Thrasher and his staff are experts in relieving dental anxiety. New patient special at $195.
Go have a visit with Dr. Thrasher and the staff and tell them what your fears are. They're the kind of people, they listen to what you say and then they try to make it work.
In Waco, Texas, we value education. We're proud of Baylor University, McLennan Community College, and TSTC. At Jeff Hunter Toyota, we share these Waco values. It's how we serve our customers better and provide the highest quality service. In Waco, this is who we are, and this is what we drive. Shop Jeff Hunter Toyota. Toyota quality, Waco values.
Black Friday mattress savings start now at Du Bois Furniture. Dream deals on Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, and Stearns & Foster mattresses. Up to $800 off. Plus receive up to a $300 in-store credit. Now at Du Bois Furniture.
Voice of West Virginia Athletics and a great friend of the show, Tony Caridi, joins us with Greg and Paul, David Smoak, 365 Sports. We appreciate your time, Tony. It's been a little while, but, you know, West Virginia, every time you kind of think they're about to disappear, they say, hey, wait a minute. It's a resilient team. Where are they now, in your opinion? Did they kind of right the ship in time?
Yeah, I think there may be some similarities, David, to what Baylor went through and what West Virginia went through. Obviously, when we played the upper-level teams, so K-State and Iowa State this season, and obviously you throw in Penn State as your non-conference game and then Pitt, it was a rocky start, not the kind of start that you wanted to get into. But things have righted themselves. They played well. They went out to Arizona and got the W. Then last week they went to Cincinnati. Playing with a backup quarterback, plus having changed defensive coordinators during that week, and they were able to get a win. You know, not the most polished performance offensively, but able to get it done thanks to the defense. So they made that switch at coordinator, and that defense forced 3 turnovers, which produced 17 points, and they needed every single one of them to get that win.
How confident are they with Nico if that continues to kind of have to be a thing they have to do?
He has, on each occasion throughout his career, and he's been here 3 years now, each occasion throughout his career when he's had to step up, he's found a way to win. And that includes a victory against Pitt a year ago. Garrett Green got knocked out in the 4th play of the game, and he was able to just kind of blue-collar his way through. He's won at Texas Tech. They put him out there at Arizona. He completed over 80% of his passes. Then Cincinnati last week, he, by his own admittance, did not play well at all. But to answer your question in a kind of a long way, every time they've tapped him, he's come up and has not hurt them. And so I guess that's probably the best answer to the question.
And right now, it remains to be seen on Garrett Green and his health status, right? I know they're kind of keeping that. That's probably some gamesmanship to some extent, probably also some uncertainty, but there's a chance he could play this weekend, right?
They don't care if Dave Aranda knows who's the quarterback. They just don't want David Smoak to know who's the quarterback.
I will blab it out there.
No, so I think, to your point, Paul, they are waiting to evaluate how he comes back in practice. You know, he had a head injury, which is the fun new way to say concussion, and that was against K-State, and that's been a month. And so he was cleared last week. He was the emergency QB last week. They just want to make sure that he practices well enough this week to earn that spot back out there.
Tony Caridi, voice of West Virginia Athletics, with us on 365 Sports. When it was a little bit dicey, what was the message from Neil Brown to his team and to the fan base?
Well, I think it was, let's just play the thing through. As I said, the schedule was front loaded. You had at one point, right? So you go Penn State, you go Pitt, and Pitt just, had when they won their first 7 games. And then you had K-State, and they had 1 loss when West Virginia played. And you had Iowa State, they had no losses. So like the combined the win record of those 4 teams that they had lost to was like, it was a big number, like 25-1 or something like that. I forget what it was. So he just said, like, hold tight here and let's just do an evaluation, after the season's over. And so, you're sitting here right now, you're 5 up and 4 down. You've got 3 left. And, you could say pretty much each of these games is a toss-up the rest of the way. Baylor this week, UCF here next week, and then at Texas Tech. And so, yeah, I mean, it's doable. Is it going to happen? Don't know, but they're certainly doable. You could finish 8-4 with your 4 losses against 4 teams, right, that are all going to be nationally ranked. So I know it's not what the fans wanted. I know they wanted a couple of those victories against nationally ranked teams, but sometimes it doesn't happen for various reasons, and you got to make best with what you've got, and that's what this team is trying to do.
What jumped off the page to you about seeing the defense now that Jeff Koons has taken over? I know it's a very small sample size, Tony. Was it just the turnovers that they were able to get, or was there more to it that you saw?
Yeah, it was a combination of the turnovers and quite simply, and as base as this may sound, they just were not previously getting lined up in time. A signal was coming in late. And as a result, they weren't pre-snap ready. And as you guys know, especially with the way that the tempo works in today's game, if you're not pre-snap ready, you're already way behind and on your way to failing on that play. So that stood out to me. And then in addition to that, as they had kind of said that they were going to do, they turned the thermostat up on applying pressure and basically sold the fact to the kids, hey, you stop first and second down, and we promise you that you will have the ability to go get the quarterback. And pressuring the quarterback, guys, I don't know how much you saw of our game, but we had a pick 6 in that game. That was the result of the quarterback getting hit, and he made a really poor decision just to chuck the ball out there to get rid of it so he wouldn't get sacked. Picked off, and it went 79. And then they caught him again late in the game when the game was still hanging in the balance, hit him from behind and forced a backward pass, which was scooped and scored. And so that would probably be the 3 biggest things: pre-snap ready and the ability to pressure the quarterback, and just, they just looked better.
Tony, what are your thoughts now of this new 16-team Big 12 with, of course, the craziness in Salt Lake City at Rice-Eccles Stadium with Utah, BYU, Mark Harlan, and just everything? You like the way this is all kind of meshed together, even though it's not perfect?
Absolutely not. I've talked to you guys about this before. To me, and I sound like the old guy screaming from the remember the Muppet Show?
Yeah.
The old guys used to sit up there in the balcony and just, hey. Anyway,
Yeah.
The essence of college sports is the regionality of the game, and we've certainly lost that. When we're out in Arizona playing, and we're not playing teams that are close to us. Guys, Cincinnati game last week for us was our closest road conference game in 13 years. And, we brought well over 2,000 fans to that game. It's about 5 hours from Morgantown. It's about 4 hours from Charleston. I mean, to me, that's what this thing's supposed to be. Now, with all of that being said, would you rather have been left out when all of this happened? Absolutely not. And so you must be in this world. If that includes you having to go out west to play, yes, that's the only way in nowadays business, guys, because of the way that this thing has become, completely driven by television. So I think to answer your question, I'm content in making it the best that it possibly can be. But at the same time, I'm disappointed and sad that we lost the true essence of college sports, and that is to play people, within an arm's distance from you, because that is really what generates emotions and rivalry.
Tony, great stuff, man. Hope you're doing well. Tell Ren Baker he looks great. Lost a lot of weight. Looks like he's very, very healthy right now. And or maybe he lost a lot of weight because of some of the losses and he just couldn't eat or something.
No. He has. I was with him this afternoon, and he is. He's looking great, and I'll tell him you guys said hey.
Yep, thank you. Tony Caridi, voice of West Virginia Athletics, with us.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford.
If you need a system repair or replacement, call the good folks at Clark Heating and Air Conditioning. They're family owned and operated since 1999 and offer best of the best installation, maintenance, and customer service. Being Waco's Tempstar Elite dealer, they have the best warranties and financing options. The Clark team is knowledgeable, well-trained, and ready to serve you. Call Clark Heating and Air Conditioning today and see why they're Waco's Tempstar Elite dealer.
Need auto parts? Budget Rent-A-Part has a huge inventory with new arrivals daily. Search parts easily on our website or give us a call. Then grab your tools and visit our organized yard where you can easily locate, pull your own parts, and save big. Got a junk car taking up space? We pay top dollar and the tow is free. Pick and pull your parts or sell your junker with Budget Rent-A-Part, your auto part headquarters located on 190 in Belton.
For over 30 years, Epperson Tractors has provided you with affordable and reliable top-of-the-line Branson tractors. We're excited to announce that Branson has now united with TYM to combine their forces. Epperson's commitment to exceptional service, outstanding value, and innovative machinery just got bigger, stronger, and better. Whether you're a weekend warrior or full-time rancher, come see the new lineup of TYM tractors today at Epperson Tractor Sales and Service in Robinson. Service is in our name.
And this is Game Day Live on a Saturday morning. Hope you're doing well. Baylor and West Virginia this afternoon, just after 3 o'clock Central Time. Big 12, last night, Arizona, it has been topsy-turvy for them. You could say that about pretty much two-thirds of the conference. But a huge win for Brent Brennan, the head coach at Arizona. He's under some fire. They beat Houston 27-3. Fafita, McMillan, the quarterback and wide receivers, both at Arizona had nice games. They needed a win, and they got it 27-3 over Houston and Willie Fritz. Houston is who Baylor will play on the road next week. And then there's the constant weekly story. I don't know if I've ever seen a team go through so many quarterbacks because of whatever reasons, mainly injuries, than Utah. Cam Rising. And then remember, it was Isaac Wilson. And then he got benched. And then it was Brandon Rose. Then last week, in the last play of the game, he got hurt. And then Isaac Wilson ended up with what they thought was mono. Here's a couple of different tweets that Utah, of course, with their quarterback play, Isaac Wilson, will he play or not? And then late yesterday, that's Dallin Ingerman, who would be the starter. And then late last night, Isaac Wilson posted that he was in Colorado. Now, players make trips with the team, but that then brought up speculation. Would he be starting today for Utah? Craig?
Yeah, what's the question? I mean,
is Isaac Wilson going to start, you think?
I don't think so, no. I don't think the signs point to him not starting, no. I don't think there's anything much to it more than that. But, yeah, Utah's had their fair share of injuries, and it's just an ongoing issue, and I think they're just kind of waiting to get to the end of the season at this point.
Yeah, you just have attrition. Baylor, what was the year when they had, was it 16? So they had Seth Russell. No, what was the year when Chris Johnson came in? He was the young man from Bryan. And that Lynx Hawthorne, was it 15?
Yeah.
When they had the quarterback one after another that went down, and eventually they go to a wide receiver. Then after that, they go to Johnny Jefferson running the Wildcat in the nearly bringing them back against Texas, and then the bowl game win in Orlando against North Carolina when he ran for 299 yards. So the college football standings came out, and week 2. And it'll lead up to eventually 12 teams that make the college football playoff. I saw this yesterday with you, Paul. We don't have the tweet, but I want to discuss it. So Greg Sankey yesterday said what?
Greg Sankey said, and I'm just paraphrasing here, that he believes that if an SEC team loses their third game in the championship, that the committee will see that 13th data point as a reward and not a punishment. So, look, Baylor and TCU didn't have a 13th data point, and it was a punishment that they didn't have it.
In 2014.
Yeah, now I know things have changed. We have 8 more teams in the playoff than we did before when it was just 4. But to me, I don't think he'd die on that cross for the ACC or the Big 12 if that same thing happened. And this one of these things is not like the other PR move that he keeps pulling is ridiculous.
He's building his argument.
Yeah, but he's already floating it out there that the SEC championship game doesn't matter. And it's ridiculous.
It helps if you win it, but it doesn't hurt you if you lose it, in other words, is what they're saying.
In many cases, there's been several cases where it hasn't, where we've seen 2 SEC teams in a 14 playoff. But
it hurt Georgia last year.
Yeah, it did hurt Georgia last year.
And there were 4 teams.
But it also helped that a future SEC team was one of those other ones in Texas that had a loss and beaten Alabama, who was there. If that game doesn't happen, if Texas's loss, say Texas's loss was way more, what was it to?
It was Oklahoma.
But say it was like a random. They had beaten Oklahoma, and it was a rando. Texas might have even gotten pushed out of that because they lost to Kansas State or Kansas or somebody like that.
Yeah, with all due respect to UT's history, and of course they have been really good the last couple of years. If you get matched up, even though they had beaten Alabama, so they were good with that, but they lost one other game like that K-State game, that would have changed it quite a bit. So the data point, in other words, if you lose in the conference championship game, if you're the SEC team that gives you 3 losses, that should not be looked at as a negative. Tom Osborne, the longtime Hall of Fame coach in Nebraska, back in, 96, they were beaten by Texas, and UT with James Brown, Mac Brown, beat Nebraska, and it cost Nebraska a chance to play in the national championship. You blame it on Nebraska, they lost the game. Great win for UT, and it kind of set the tone for the future of the Big 12. He said the conference championships, yes, financially are good, but teams are going to get knocked out of championship opportunities because of conference championship games. Money, like we've seen with everything, trumps anything that might mean playing for a championship, unless you're Greg Sankey and also the SEC. All right, when we come back, we've got more to get to. We'll also look at the Big 12 schedule. We'll look at the top 25. We'll hear from Ricky Thompson on the game today with West Virginia, and also Dave Aranda on some thoughts about West Virginia, who made the announcement earlier today that Garrett Green would start at quarterback. This is Game Day Live.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
Score big savings at the Kickoff to Savings event at Richard Carr Buick. A first-year All-American and a 2024 Car and Driver Magazine Editor's Choice, the all-new Buick Envista starts at only $23,990. Or make the winning drive in a 2024 Buick Encore GX SUV and save $4,000 for non-GM car owners. Qualified buyers get 0.9% financing and no payments for 90 days. Score your deal at the Kickoff to Savings event going on now at Richard Carr Buick.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Make Camp Info the destination for your next visit to Waco. Whether you're catching a football game, exploring the silos, or just looking to get away, Camp Info Waco is conveniently located 6 miles from downtown and Baylor University. Voted the #1 best vacation rental in Waco for the last 2 years, this camping resort features cabins and RV sites and is brimming with premium amenities like on-site dining, sports courts, a swimming pool, and more. Start making unforgettable memories and book your stay at Camp Info Waco.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with the Baylor Club membership today.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
All right, Game Day Live here on a Saturday morning. We'll, in just a moment here, from Ricky Thompson and also Dave Aranda. Let's look at the top 25 schedule. Again, last night it was Arizona 27 and Houston 3. You guys look at this schedule, go over it with me, and kind of see where you think that's the top 25. Do we have the Big 12 one, Garrett? There we go. Big 12 schedule. Houston losing last night. There is the schedule. There are teams that have off weeks. But your thoughts, let's go down the road. Let's start with Utah and Colorado with big noon kickoff in Boulder today.
Well, considering it, the Utah quarterback plan is nebulous at best, I think that Folsom Field's going to see about 40 points on a Utah defense that usually wouldn't give that up, because I don't think they'll be able to hold the ball very long without a functional quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back. We mentioned Arizona, Houston. Hadn't really commented on that. It was a good win for Arizona, and Houston's offense just incapable of breaking the one or two big plays that they would typically hit and then rely on their defense. And they didn't have a chance last night, not only not able to hit any big plays that amounted to points for the offense, but defensively giving up, 27 points. They were just really in a bad spot last night. So that was a nice win for Arizona. Maybe cools off Brent Brennan's chair a little bit. But the Cougars probably not going bowling now as a result of that loss, when that was looking like an outside shot. As far as Utah and Colorado, I think this is all Buffaloes unless they just sleepwalk and take Utah for granted. Only scenario I can see including that would be for Shedeur to also throw 3 interceptions and have a couple of them be pick sixes, because I just don't know how Utah's supposed to score in this game, especially if you're down to your third, fourth-string quarterback. They're just not great offensively right now, and so this was already going to be an uphill battle. But if you're really, scraping the dregs of your quarterback depth chart, then I think that doesn't bode well in any way. Defensively, you can probably give Colorado some problems, but they're going to score some points, and they're huge favorites here at home. So, yeah, I think Colorado's going to keep rolling, and you just grab a little bit more control of that second spot in the race to the Big 12 championship.
Well, they have a one-game lead as being in. We know that BYU has the one-game lead on Colorado and 2 over everybody else. That game will kick off at 11 o'clock. And, yeah, with the quarterback situation or not with Utah, Colorado's feeling good. And that win last week where they fell down 13-0 and then came back and then ended up winning, not coasting, but winning. And the defense, I really was impressed with McNeil and others making plays for them. Arizona State, this is a fantastic game and maybe should have gotten more attention throughout the week. Arizona State, K-State, both 7-2. Everyone thought K-State would be in this position. No one saw Kenny Dillingham and the Sun Devils in this position. Scatterboo, their great running back, is back. This is a collision course game. 6 o'clock kick tonight on ESPN.
And we'll see how healthy he is. Cam Scatterbo. But this is a way better game than it's getting credit for, and part of that has to do with rankings and how things are. Arizona State's 7-2 and not ranked, which really is kind of silly considering where they're still being punished from last year. That they weren't good last year, and that's nobody's ranking them or noticing them. But I'm sure Kennedy Dillingham probably doesn't matter because it's allowed him to sneak up on almost everybody. I know he's not going to sneak up on Kansas State, but. This one should be really good. I think Kansas State at home gives them the distinct advantage, but man, both these teams run the ball really well, so it could be a really good slobber knocker in Manhattan tonight.
I think the reason why people aren't giving Arizona State credit yet is because they haven't beaten anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at their schedule; they've played a relatively easy schedule, which has bode well for a team that's trying to kind of bounce back and get their bearings about them, so they've been blessed by that. But if they win this week, then they'll be in the top 25 because that would be a win that actually matters on the road against number 16 Kansas State. If they win next week, they'll be deeper in the top 25 because they will be at home against number 6 BYU. So the only other ranked team they played up until today was Utah. And was that a real ranking looking back on it? No, that was a complete abomination because Utah is nowhere near a top 25 team. So now Arizona State gets into the heart of their schedule. But I like Kansas State here, so I don't think that top 25 ranking's coming right now because I do think Kansas State wins. I do expect a competitive game, though. K-State's had a couple weeks to get ready for this one, and I think that Arizona State will give them a go, but ultimately the Wildcats pull away here.
Scatterbo's over 1,000 yards despite missing the game last week, 11 rushing touchdowns, and what an amazing run it has been for him and Arizona State this year. Then that's at 6 o'clock on ESPN. 7 o'clock tonight, another Big 12 game on Fox. Cincinnati, disappointed in them. I had them beating last week West Virginia, and it was back and forth. Looked like at the end they could make a surge and West Virginia would counter. 5-4, Iowa State's lost twice in a row, kind of falling back into who they are most of the time. Huge game for Iowa State. Otherwise, what is a very nice year could turn into what is a very disappointing year. 7 o'clock tonight, they're at home against Cincy.
Yeah, Cincinnati, could very well win this game for sure. I just don't like a 2 loss in a row Iowa State team at home as a team that I'm going to get my 6th win against and get bowl eligible. I think that just the way that this has fallen for the Bearcats, probably not the best, but you never know. Iowa State hasn't really been themselves the last couple weeks, or maybe they've been exactly themselves and just couldn't close. But I expect to see a pretty darn good Iowa State team win at home tonight.
Cincinnati turnovers bit them last week against West Virginia. That was a winnable game. That was a bowl eligibility game that was there for the taking, and they threw it away, fumbled it away in both cases. Brendan Sorsby not able to hang on to the football, and that caught up to them in a close game. So I think Cincinnati will be geared up and ready to go, but I just don't think it'll be enough to turn last week's loss into some big win this week. I think the losing continues for them and starts to really bring into question whether or not they're going to be able to get that 6th win, because they'll then travel to Kansas State, and then they'll get TCU, and I'd take TCU over them right now. So Cincinnati could look at a situation, if they don't win today, where you've got 3 straight losses and only 2 games to win 1. So that's interesting there. But, yeah, I like Iowa State here to bounce back in Ames, even though they've been susceptible at home. I think the losing streak stops today. They're a slightly better team than Cincinnati.
And then the game tonight, and Kansas all of a sudden is like, whoa, huge win last week. And they're putting up points again with Jalen Daniels and what they do on offense. They're on the road against BYU. The Cougars find ways to win. Their defense is stingy. Retzloff continues to play well. This is a monster game because BYU unbeaten. They don't have much room for error, no matter if they're in the top 10. Leading the way, and here comes Lance Leipold, Jalen Daniels, the offense for KU. This kind of seems to be a dangerous game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the number is really low, and it's low for a reason, in that BYU plays all close games anyway for the most part, Kansas State notwithstanding, but they play close games. That's how they do it. They keep you close, and then they strike when they need to. And like Craig has said, I mean, I kind of feel like I'm not really sure how good they are. I just know that they know how to win games when it gets down to the clutch. But as far as talented, deep, good, compared to other teams in the upper echelon, I'm not sure how good they are and how they stack up. And that's why they're vulnerable. The next couple weeks are pretty nerve-wracking for them, with Kansas, who's starting to play better. Jalen Daniels looks like Jalen Daniels. And then Arizona State, who we just talked about.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels looked really good last week. Kansas is a super hot team right now. If not for the fact that BYU's undefeated and Baylor's also on a run, then you'd have Kansas maybe as the hottest team in the conference. But they're in the conversation. I think they could make things interesting tonight. I just don't like it being on the road, 9:15 kickoff. I think that's such a disadvantage for anybody rolling into Provo, and an advantage, therefore, for BYU. So I'll take the Cougars, but I think the Jayhawks could make it interesting.
By the way, the Big 12 has what? BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, and TCU and Tech have clinched bowl berths. Today, one team will in Morgantown, whether it's West Virginia or Baylor. And there's also the fact Cincinnati can get one at number 6, too. When we come back, Ricky Thompson, Dave Aranda. This is Game Day Live.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly, getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
Did you know BYOT Auto Parts is one of the largest buyers of used cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs in Central Texas? We'll buy your car today, running or not, and you'll get paid top dollar on the spot. Tired of pouring money into your car? We feel your pain. Got a vehicle that's just collecting dust? We'll pick it up for free and you still get paid. Looking for quality used auto parts? Look no further. At BYOT, bring your own tools and pull your own parts. Call or visit us online today.
BYOT Auto Parts. BYOT Auto Parts. Bring your own tools, pull your own parts.
Shopping online for a Purple mattress? We get it. With Purple's unique Gel Flex grid and multiple foam layers, you'll experience effortless sleep that's motion adaptive, temperature balanced, pressure relieving, and ultra supportive. But which Purple mattress is right for you? Come to Denver Mattress and test for yourself. And during our Black Friday sale, save up to $1,000 on mattress and base bundles and get an instant gift. Shop Purple at Denver Mattress, the easiest way to find your perfect Purple.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly, getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
Thompson, Baylor radio sideline analyst, joins us on 365 Sports. Ricky, they got on a roll. Baylor had won 3 in a row, have won 3 in a row. Then they had the open week. Would you rather have played another game right then, or do you feel like maybe it was such a push to get back above 500 that maybe the rest and the decompression helped?
You know, 2 open dates in a season is a little bit odd. I think maybe this time, not a bad idea. I think before the last one, you were on a losing streak. The question was there, do you keep playing? Do you take a break, get people well? Obviously, turned out pretty good after that one. And I think this one too, maybe. I just think there was a lot of, maybe not necessarily more injuries, but I just think there was a lot of effort put into that 3-game winning streak that psychologically may have worn these guys out a bit. And I think the week off was good, particularly going to West Virginia, a place where we were 0-6, by the way. I think it's good. I think that sounds like Aranda thinks they're healthier than they've been all season. We'll see how that plays out. I know they could use a couple of these defensive guys back that have been out for a while. We'll see, but I don't think it hurt, Smokey. I really don't. I think it was probably pretty good timing.
You mentioned it mentally exhausting, and to, especially to shake the TCU monkey off their back. That's one. But now to have that, then you have the week off. can they take that confidence of like, we don't have the, oh, here we go anymore. We could maybe do that when we go to Morgantown as well and shake that monkey off their back.
I think absolutely. Yeah, I think really two things. Number one, the win in Lubbock was still a huge win. That was a time when they were really struggling, and you go in there and just blow Texas Tech out. Then come back, beat Oklahoma State. We know how they're reeling. They're not doing well at all. But the win against TCU was huge. Of course, they turned around this last week and strum Oklahoma State pretty good at home. So I think they're pretty confident. I think particularly offensively, I'm seeing a really confident football team. I think Trigg has kind of hit his stride and finding out where and when he can help this team and how. Sawyer, we've all talked about that. I think he's been a game changer there. A couple of changes in the offensive line have been really effective. I think now maybe after this week, we see what the secondary does. We see how they've improved. If you get them where they're just better, not great, but better, this can be a really good football team. And I don't think they're going up there with doubts that they can win these games. Remember, most of these guys aren't part of that 0-6 stretch in Morgantown, so they really don't know the difference. I'm hopeful and pretty optimistic that they'll play well.
Ricky, does it feel like the receivers, as much as Sawyer has been very sharp and very accurate, and maybe even the play calling has improved because the offensive line has improved everything since it all starts up front, but does it feel like the receivers, and you can even extend that to a Michael Trigg or even the running backs, have stepped up their game as well to go and make the tough catch and to go get that first down as opposed to it gets batted away or you drop it because you're looking upfield?
Yeah, Craig, I do. I think all of that plays off of each other. I think, first of all, they figured out they've got a quarterback that's going to get the ball there if they're open. And he's not going to hesitate to sling it if they're covered because he's got the confidence they'll make the catch. Then you've seen a couple of guys, Hal Presley's made catches where he's been covered up. Josh Cameron, he has made 2 or 3 catches, all hands on the wrong side of his body that I don't think generally people realize how hard of catches those have been. They're unbelievable catches. Now, he was open, granted, but that ball is a 50-50 ball, and he's made it look easy on nearly all of them. So I just think there's a confidence there. Where in the past we were seeing we were dropping a ball on first or third down, didn't pick up the first. We weren't getting the 50-50 ball when we were covered. Right now we're making those plays, and I think it's made a huge difference. And these other guys feed off of it. I mean, you've got Washington had, 12 carries for 96 yards in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
I mean, that's a good ball game, much less fourth quarter.
But all 3 teams that are left are capable of making your day miserable. It's going to be West Virginia got a win last week in Cincinnati. We know what Houston's done. They've had a couple of bad ones, but beating K-State, and then at the end, Kansas. Who knows by then? They may have won 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah, they looked really good against Iowa State. I thought particularly their passing game hit some huge plays downfield against them, and they lost some really close games along the way. So you could very easily win all 3 of these or very easily lose all 3. So they need to take the heat off, take the pressure off, win this one in Morgantown, get that first win. They win this one up here, guys, and I wouldn't bet against them going into those last 2. I just think this is a team that's gained so much confidence. And I just think back earlier in the year, maybe at Utah versus what we're seeing now. And this team does not even resemble that team some weeks ago.
Yeah, Ricky, I think, if you get that 6th win, which is bowl game, which is not only for the players or for the coaches, I mean, I think everybody's going to be coaching free and breezy and playing free and breezy because now they know that they've got an extra couple weeks of playing, that the coaching staff, that last little, could they be gone is out the door, and no one has to worry about that anymore.
Exactly. And there's these guys know that pressure. The coaches know it. Players know it. Everybody, fans, think they don't realize it, that they just stick their head in the sand to this. They're not dummies. They know exactly what's going on, and they know what they need to do. And, yeah, huge pressure relief. And that is even more indicative of how big those last 3 wins were, Paul, because without those, you're not 5-4. You lose those 3. Think about it. You're 2-7 right now? If those flip the other way, that doesn't sound too good, does it? Even with 3 left. But that could have gone that way very easily if this team hadn't turned it around. And it's so impressive that they were able to do that. And still not a great team, but a good one. And as I said earlier, you get this secondary straightened out defensively, and this is a pretty dang good football team.
Ricky, thank you. Obviously, road trip to Morgantown. You're someone that likes to fly. Is that one of those where you have to fly into Pittsburgh? Where do you fly to get to Morgantown? I know there's a couple of options.
The team flies probably into Pittsburgh or just outside. They're about an hour drive. We're going straight into Morgantown. So it's good, but we'll go Friday and be there, get things set up and ready to go. 3 o'clock kickoff Central. That's 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Their East time, so probably dark by halftime, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay. Playing at night, I kind of like it, even on the road. So I'm ready. I hope they are.
It was Stillwater that used to be the nightmare, the 800-pound gorilla. They finally were able to handle that one. This is the other one now, Morgantown.
Yeah,
with what's happening
that's
there.
it. Stillwater was tough until we went up there and picked off a couple, and now that's a different atmosphere. You don't worry about it. But it's really amazing. This team is 0-6 when you had some really good football teams went up there. The Bryce Petty group, that only conference game they lost was up there, and on that one, drove down the first series with the ball and scored, went up 7-0, and then downhill from there. So don't know what it is. But I don't think it's anything relegated to just because it's Morgantown. It's just we've not played that well up there, and it's time to change that.
Thank you, Ricky. Enjoy your trip. Be careful. Ricky Thompson, former Washington NFL receiver, Baylor receiver, and a part of Baylor Radio sideline analyst.
Game Day Live, sponsored locally by Central Texas Plumbing Solutions and Bird Colgin Ford.
Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Bird Colgin Ford. Join us for our Black Friday sale where over $16 million in inventory is on sale right now. This month only, get a 24 F-150 for under $500 a month, or a 24 Bronco, only $470 a month. Selection and save all month long at Bird Colgin Ford during our Black Friday sales event. Visit us anytime at bkford.com or come by and experience better at BK Ford.
I've suffered from shoulder pain for about 22 years. It got to where I couldn't even wash my hair. I couldn't even brush my teeth without pain.
That's when Sophia checked out QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. All natural treatments to restore and repair your damaged joint tissue and get you back to living a normal life again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime.
I chose QC Kinetics because my son, he had had his back done, and he had great success with it.
Join tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have found lasting relief from their joint pain. Request a free consultation and find out if you're qualified for this therapeutic breakthrough. Call 979-364-5180.
I was in the shower washing my hair, and I realized, oh my God, I'm washing my hair and it doesn't hurt. I'm pain-free, and I want to thank you, QC Kinetics.
Isn't it time you got your life back? Call now for your free consultation. 979-364-5180. 979-364-5180.
Speaking of getting in the way, specifically defensively, what are the areas that you still would like to see y'all improve?
I think we got to play the pass better. We have to play when the ball's in the air. We have to play that better. I think when we're playing zones, we got to communicate and execute those zone responsibilities better. You know, I'd say that now. We haven't really faced a bunch of running teams. I think early in the season, maybe some teams tried to run it on us. We're going to play a team that can run and throw it. And so, I don't know, we'll see what we say next week, you know. But I think throw game-wise, we have to improve playing the ball when it's in the air. I think that's been something that has not improved since the beginning of the year.
2 bye weeks is a little bit unusual. What's the benefit of having one here late in the year?
I think everyone gets refreshed with that. I thought, you know, today's practice, you can kind of feel the energy of it. I think there's always a strain when you're under the gun, you know, and so I think kind of having a chance to breathe is probably good. That gives you a chance to, you know, look at the stuff you're doing good, you're not doing good, and there's a bunch of tape nowadays. You know, I remember when you used to be able to make a cut up and send it to someone, a VHS tape, or you would send out a cut. You would call their video coordinator, hey, we're going to send a cut to you. And now it's so accessible everywhere, and you can watch, you know, all the games that were played whatever days ago. You can watch it, and now I saw this on TV. I'm gonna look at this, and so there's, you know, I think that just elevates the schematics in the game. That's the world we're in now, and so you could do some of that too. And so I think there's ways it can help you. I think you've got to be intentional about those ways. Otherwise, I think it can hurt you because you can kind of just sit back and take it as it comes.
Dave, is there anything you can take, it was a few games ago now, but out of the game y'all had in Lubbock, of going into a hostile environment that you can take to Morgantown?
You know, the last couple of times West Virginia have been really close, tight games. You know, they're in a lot of ways similar to us in that they're a gritty team, or a physical team. They've got players that love ball, that are, you could tell there's a passion, the care factor is really strong. I think their coaches put them in a position to be successful. I think whenever I watch them, I can really see that they do a good amount of self-scouting, and they pay attention to all the details that are out there, and so I have a lot of respect for them in that manner. Yeah, you know, it's going to be us versus, you know, the state of West Virginia. So, I mean, we're going to have to be able to be locked into what we got and to what our prescription is, and stay with that through the momentum swings that are surely going to come there. And so I think these, you know, whether it's Colorado or Tech, those games have put us in a position to kind of get this one. You know, there hasn't been a lot of getting it at their spot, so we're going to try to do that.
Is there a significant difference in the two quarterbacks, and how do you prepare for them?
Yeah, I think the guy that was just here recently, you know, these last couple of games, I think there's more of a sit back in the pocket and throw it with him. I think you could just sense it off of watching film. There's more, they're comfortable in that space with him. Less quarterback run. The other quarterback, the guy that started, more quarterback run, less drop back pass, more move the pocket. And so I think with the guy that you know was in this last one, kind of sit back there, run, and sit back there, throw it. With the guy that started, move him around a lot. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that is moving forward.
Do you prepare for both? Or?
You have to, yeah. The quarterback run. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago we played Wildcat with TCU, and just, you know, you're outnumbered when that's the case, and when they you know, the runs that he's been running, they outnumber you. So you have to find ways to change the math and get the numbers back in your advantage. So you have to spend time with that. But I mean, you know, when they're running the ball effectively and they get everybody down and then they throw it deep, I think that's really their ID, and I think that's who they want to be.
It's time to score big savings at the Kickoff to Savings event on GMC trucks at Richard Carr GMC. Take the winning drive with the Texas Truck MVP. GMC Sierra is the best truck on the road. Save $9,000 on 2024 GMC Sierra SLT models in stock with approved trade-in. Plus, qualified buyers get 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days. See dealer for details. Save big and score your deal at the Kickoff to Savings event at Richard Carr GMC.
Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with the Baylor Club membership today.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB Your Bank for Life. Member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Chuck Verno, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Wrap it up here on this Saturday morning. Baylor in Morgantown against West Virginia. Never won there. It's not the longest series. It started back in 2012, 70-63, and there's been a lot of fireworks. There's been huge wins for both teams. Last year, as Baylor was closing out that horrendous 3-9, they played really pretty well against West Virginia and had the lead late, but like with everything else last year, they couldn't finish the deal, and that was how they ended the season. No one knew about the future of Dave Aranda, but there's no doubt that he'll be back and was back, and then he's back again for this next year, it appears, all indications what I've been told. Paul and Craig, two teams are 5-4. They're 5-4. They're both average. They have shown some nice moments. They've also shown moments why they have 4 losses. It's on the road. I know we do predictions in the site. I have West Virginia winning just because I think it's a tough place to play. It's not because I think they're better. I think they're about the same. They both have warts. I just have the Mountaineers because the game's at home.
I'm actually picking Baylor to win. I think they're playing confident. I don't know how totally healthy Garrett Green is, and I know that he ripped him a new one last year here in Waco. But yeah, I've got Baylor winning. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the way they're running the ball. I know West Virginia's been playing some better defense since they switched up their defensive play caller. But yeah, I like Baylor's momentum here.
Yeah, I mean, I like Baylor as well. I mean, either team winning is not going to be a surprise. This is not one where there's some grand upset that's possibly in store. They're pretty equally matched. Kind of surprised Baylor's been the favorite all week, but I think that's just because not a lot of people have faith in West Virginia. Morgantown's been made out to be this big boogeyman. I get it. They've never won there, but, it's not really that. It's kind of like Stillwater typically, historically, is a pretty tough place to play. It's not this year. I think Morgantown will have some challenges, but nothing that really worries me and makes me think this team can't go in there and win. So, I won't be surprised. I mean, if Garrett Green comes out there and he tears up this secondary, wouldn't be shocking. I guess the only shocking thing would be if they just go and laid an egg. I just think they've been playing too well to go and get beat up and not look good at all. So with 2 weeks to prepare, I'd expect a highly competitive game, and I feel like if you're ever going to go win in Morgantown, this is as great of an opportunity as ever to go and do that. So hopefully they're locked in, that we know they're healthy, and they can go out there and execute and give themselves a chance to win and not get overwhelmed by, it's Morgantown. You've never won here before.
Yeah, because a lot of guys haven't played there. There are some who have, but not many have played there before. All right, so let me get you guys tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 what's most likely to happen. Baylor wins 3 in a row, which means 6 in a row, or they win 2 of the last 3, or only 1 of the last 3, or they go 0 for 3. And that's not against the possibility.
No, I like 2 of the last 3, but I still think this team's playing well enough to where if they finish the season 8-4, you won't be able to knock me over with a feather. I think that's very reasonable. I think that's what they're going to do. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I really do like the way they're playing right now.
I think if they win today, I'm most inclined to say 2-1, but I think if they win today, it's 3-0 because I don't really fear anything about Houston. They have a terrible offense. I know that game's down in Houston. Their defense is pretty good, but I think Baylor's a better team than them, and I think Kansas at the end of the year, that's at home, could be dicey. If Kansas goes and beats BYU tonight, then maybe that's a game you look at differently, but I don't know. I think if you've won 5 games in a row and you're closing out the season at home, you'd feel pretty great about going ahead and finishing the deal. So to me, this is the turning point game. And if they drop today, I still feel great about their chances to win the last 2. So I'd say 2-1 if I had to put my own money on it, but I think 3-0 is a very real possibility if they win today. Obviously, if they win today, but I just think that would carry them these last couple of weeks as well, because you'd be riding such great history and such momentum that this program's never really experienced before in terms of the details of that momentum of beating TCU the way that you did, turn around, winning in Morgantown first time ever. That's just the stuff that's never been done. So I think you'd be playing with some rare air there for sure.
All right, so those of you in the chat, we appreciate you joining us earlier today and being on when we went on. Paxton, I have no idea who to pick between Baylor and West Virginia. Zachary Thornton, happy Baylor showed so much more improvement. Keep this team together. They'll be a force next year. Let's see. From Kim Coulter, with apologies to Bobby B, the Hillbillies roll. That's West Virginia. BYU, K-State, both roll as well. Kansas, no clue as how incredibly hard it is to breathe at 4,500 feet above sea level. And then Kim, of course, I like Sawyer Robertson. So there we are with all of that. From Bobby B, I hear you. The Moonshine Mojo is definitely against us in West Virginia, but I think the Bears prevail in Morgantown. Isn't it weird how they think of this team, though? Because they've shown some grit. They've also taken charge of games that win in Texas, in Lubbock, and then, of course, coming back as well to just keep it going. So wrap it up, Paul. Give me your score. Craig, you give me your score. We have 1 minute, and then I'll give you mine.
I'm going to go 34-30 Baylor.
Whatever it was I put on the website the other day, I'm trying to search even what that was, but that was my prediction. I think it was like 34-27 or something like that. Baylor, I'm picking to win.
All right, I say 30-27 West Virginia. I think it will be an entertaining game. I do know that don't get that crowd frothing at the mouth. It's like any road game. And we saw, and thanks to Roy Nogeltree from KWTX for doing the live cut-in from Morgantown. Garrett Ross, thank you as well for producing. As I mentioned to everybody who joined us today on the chat, next week, the next 2 Saturdays, we will be here for Game Day Live at 9 o'clock on the road against Houston, and then as well when they play at home to close it out against Kansas. For everybody, including KWTX, I'm David Smoak. Game Day Live. Have a great Saturday afternoon.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly, getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.
Need auto parts? Budget Rent-A-Part has a huge inventory with new arrivals daily. Search parts easily on our website or give us a call. Then grab your tools and visit our organized yard where you can easily locate, pull your own parts, and save big. Got a junk car taking up space? We pay top dollar and the tow is free. Pick and pull your parts or sell your junker with Budget Rent-A-Part, your auto part headquarters located on 190 in Belton.
This is the Ergo Smart Base from Tempur-Pedic, and it responds to snoring, so you don't have to. So no more nudging your partner or sleeping on the other side of the house, because the Tempur Ergo Smart Base actually detects snoring, then automatically adjusts to help reduce it all night, every night.
Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets and get a $300 gift. Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right Tempur-Pedic.
Central Texas Plumbing Solution is the team you can count on to go the extra mile and resolve your plumbing problems quickly and thoroughly. Getting it done right the first time. So when you need some help before the big game, call Central Texas Plumbing Solutions.